Hi, you're listening to Scribble Talk Teaching, a podcast for bid and proposal professionals. My name is Bhaskar Sundram, and I'll be sitting down with the industry leaders to dive deep into topics that business winning professionals like you can use to help grow your skills and your business. Today's guest is Brenda Crist. Brenda has been a long-term friend of Scribble Talk. We have profiled Brenda already in Scribble Talk episode number 31. If you haven't listened to, please do listen in. But here is a short bio of Brenda, just in case. Brenda has over 25 plus years of experience providing capture, proposal, and program management support for IT companies serving the federal market. She's currently the Vice President at Lohfeld Consulting Group, holds a master's degree in public administration from American University, and she's also a professional level certified leader within APMP. She's also a fellow within APMP and a former Chapter Chairperson of the Year. So welcome, Brenda, to Scribble Talk Teaching.
Thank you.
And today we are going to talk about the power of words. Give us an overview why the words are important in any proposal score, Brenda.
Okay, I think words are very important. And let me give you a little analogy, okay? Okay, Now it's the same thing. Books and proposals are absolutely the same. Have you ever read a good book and you know from the first, you can't put it down. You have to read it through. And I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. So if I say these words to you, can you see if you can tell me what books they're from, okay? It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Very popular English novel, Pride and Prejudice, right?
Yep.
Here's another example. They Call Me Ishmael. This is an epic story of Captain Ahab's voyage. You're like, oh, I want to read that. What voyage did you go on? Well, that's from Moby Dick. And I'll give you one more example. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was an age of wisdom. It was, and so that is from A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. And these are all classic novels that you kind of want to turn the page because it seems like an interesting story. I'll give just one last example here. It was a bright, cold day in April when the clocks were striking 13. You go, what? What's this all about? That's not a time. And that's 1984 by George Orwell. So you can see the power of words are huge. They'll want to make you put down a proposal or a novel or just toss it. And you I'm sure you've read very irritating proposals before where you say, I just can't go on. I can't read another page, right? So that's why words are so powerful. And
Well said, Brenda. As you rightly said, every word that you mentioned, we can easily relate to the book. And that's how the two lines of or sentences, we can relate to book. That's very, very important, as you rightly said. But talk us through how words also play a much bigger role, and just continue the conversation as you go.
Right. Well, I think that, words, they can magnify a proposal, make it interesting. Likewise, they can kill a proposal. And we have this very interesting blog at our company that's been very popular, even though it was written like 10 years ago. It's called 100 Words That Kill Proposals. And it's very humorous, and we've kind of put them into about 5 categories. And those are crutch words when writers don't know what to say. For instance, they want to have you have to write an understanding of a proposal. And you just say, we understand. Well, that just fails to say anything to the customer, right? So it would be much more important if you actually, or much more meaningful if you described your understanding in terms of the size, scope, complexity of the job. And then another group we have are boasting words. And these are just kind of like fingernails on the blackboard type words, like best of breed, industry standard processes, world-class, state-of-the-art. So you can't really award to someone who describes their solution in those terms because you're not exactly sure what you're getting. Another group we have are vague or useless words that we are pleased to submit this proposal, enthusiastic about performing the work, or committed to top quality. Doesn't really tell you what we're proposing, or timid words such as we think, feel, or believe, or redundant words like especially important on page limited proposals, like for instance, close proximity instead of proximity, or consensus of opinion instead of consensus. We definitely want to get rid of those type of words, or needlessly long words. My favorite one is utilize, and just in case of in place of use, or slang terms that someone might not understand. So we have a list here of a blog on Lohfeld Consulting website that's 100 words that kill your proposals, and that's always kind of popular. And you think if you took away all of these words from a proposal, how much space you might have left to write something that's really meaningful. So it's just kind of a fun tour through these words.
That's beautiful, Brenda. I think you have explained what words we shouldn't use it, and definitely we'll add that link to that popular article that you mentioned, and that people can browse through part of this podcast. What words then we should use, Brenda? Do you have a list of words that you recommend?
Yeah, I think that we should. I have a couple of categories. And first of all is buzzwords. Because whenever you have a proposal, it's linked to very specific requirements and evaluation criteria, right? Yeah. So you should make sure that you use those. For instance, if the customer had put the word artificial intelligence in a proposal, it means that they want some type of AI solution. So you might use words like machine learning or robotic process automation to describe your solution. Or if you're doing cloud migration, it might be provisioning or public-private hybrid clouds, or cloud platform management solutions. In service desk, you definitely want to talk about customer satisfaction and response time, or mean time to solution. And for instance, in social media, you might talk about hits, impressions, likes, and shares. Or in Agile, you might talk about scrums, sprints, release trains, or retrospectives. So you want to make sure that you seem knowledgeable when you're asked to, have some type of agile solution. You want to make sure that you're using the buzzwords that are represented in the requirements, and of course, buzzwords which go along with that particular implementation. So I think those words are very important too.
Thank you for sharing the two categories, Brenda, of what type of words we should use. Let's just dwell deeper on this words, how we can use the words to improve the proposal compliance, and also understand how we can use it to showcase the proposal's benefit. Talk us through, let's go deeper on this subject if you can. Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Well, thank you so much. I think there are also words that can draw attention to your benefits that you should be thinking about using. Words like advantage, benefit, differentiator, discriminator, eclipse, exceed. That's my favorite word, exceed. You exceed requirements, service levels, at acceptable quality levels. You excel, you go beyond, you're greater than, higher, or even lower, especially when you're in terms of cost. So I think that you really want to make sure that you're able to draw attention to your benefits and to quantify them. I think that even though you have great words to draw attention to your benefits, it's really key that you make sure that you quantify them and tell the customer exactly what they're going to get. Like, for instance, a discriminator of our approach is, and then kind of fill in the blank and give a very specific example. It might be a product that helps them reduce cost by 20%. So you want to make sure that you put in that quantifier. Or an important idea is, and kind of fill in the blank, an advantage you receive from our approach is, or customers gain, and fill in the blank. But you always want to make sure that you take words that draw their attention to the benefit, and then make sure you have some type of quantitative or qualitative message that you could fill in the blank after those kind of important words. So I think that for phrases, you definitely, sometimes you don't want to really do it, very too strong, or say, have a big red arrow pointing, but you can use words to draw their attention, and so they'll know it's important. And many times people just take these advantages or discriminators that you have in your proposal and just lift them and ship them onto your scorecard. So you want to make sure that it's easy for them to find.
Nice. Brenda, that's brilliant. I think we talked about what you shouldn't do, different types of words that you can't do or you shouldn't do recommended. And then we talked about 2 categories of what words you could do. Then we also tried about the features, benefits, discriminators. Now, the words are words, Brenda, as you rightly said, but what sections of a proposal do we need to use these words to create maximum impact?
That's a great question. Of course, I think the answer is across all evaluated criteria. Most of the times you're evaluated on your technical, your management, maybe your staffing, your past performance, and your resumes. So wherever you have evaluated criteria, you want to make sure you use those words. And I'll give you an example here. For most proposals, whether they're commercial or government, you're evaluated on your past performance, right? And I always say that, your past performance is either a grade A or a grade F, or that means, you're at the top or you're at the bottom, because definitely your competitors will all provide past performance references that are wonderful. So in a close competition, you might find that the only difference between your win and your loss could be your past performance. So we want to help customers recognize our outstanding performance. And so words that could draw attention to your past performance might be ability, accomplish or accomplishment, achieve, additional, advance, award, best, capability or capacity. And those are words we also want to make sure we use. And I'll give you a couple of examples here. Is customer ABC reduce their cloud costs by an additional 10%, based on our cloud migration measurement. Or for instance, customer ABC awarded our team a small business achievement award for helping them fulfill their mission requirements. Or to accelerate productivity, our company offers several complementary capabilities, fill in the blank, whatever you want to put in there. But I've used those words again to draw attention to my past performance, additional, advanced, accelerate, etc. And then I filled in the blank with some type of quantitative measure, and it all, it kind of sets in their mind, these people are doing a great job. So that's where I can, that's just one example of I'm using words throughout my proposal, in this case, past performance, to raise their awareness of how well we do the work and not just what we do. And hopefully that will raise our score.
That's great, Brenda. As you rightly said, what people, I know we have given like hundreds of questions to write in a proposal, and then we have aim to have keywords, key solutions written in a cohesive way across the proposal, but you also kind of guided the key sections that we could actually can focus on adding those words on. Any further tips and techniques of the power of words in a proposal, Brenda?
Well, I think resumes are also another very important part, another important portion of a a resume where you can use words. Customers look for candidates who understand their work and possess the skills to help them, right, accomplish their goals. And they also look for candidates that have achieved recognition from, let's say, professional associations or other type of leadership awards. They don't want resumes that just provide a laundry list of tasks that the candidate has done. Have you ever seen those resumes where you say, I've done this, 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 and this, and they never tell what they've accomplished or what benefits that they've brought a customer? So if you're coming down, if you're in a tight competition and you're just coming down to where the resumes are the deciding factor, you want to make sure you have resumes that clearly, describe why the people you're proposing are best placed to accomplish their requirements. So you want to make sure you use phrases that persuade the evaluators that you have the absolute very best people. So I would use words like definitely accomplished, acquired, advanced, awarded, changed, modernized, maybe decreased or earned. Words like that to make sure that my people are dynamic, they're very oriented on accomplishments, and they're doing their very best for their customers. So if I had to use it in a phrase, I might say, fill in the candidate's name, controlled cost by, give me a quantitative metric that benefited operations by, and then describe the benefits to the customer. So words like controlled, exceeded, decreased, increased, or minimized, like in the fact that you minimize risk, which benefited operations by, are very important. So, and it also kind of perks up your interest. Oh, okay, how well did this person work? They will be working for me in the future. It's really nice to know that they've benefited their previous customers in the past. So I think that's another very important part of a proposal where you might want to be very careful about the words that you choose.
Nice. I think we talked about resumes and we also talked about past performance, Brenda. How about using it on competitive analysis, like ghosting your competition and stuff? What sort of words or phrases can be used there?
Well, I think casting doubt in the mind of the people who are going to award the contract is key, because although especially in a very tight competition where you have similar solutions, you do want to cast doubt in their mind. So words like deficiency, disbelief, doubt, dubious, flag, lack of confidence could maybe put a little bit of doubt in the minds of your evaluators, that or misguided qualms, questions, queries could really kind of put doubt in the mind that maybe this isn't the best solution. And you might even say, in our experience, the approach creates risk because, and fill in the blank, or all things considered, you might not want to go down the road with that solution because, or be very authoritative and say, based on industry data, this approach has a weakness because, or and this is the reason. Should I start again?
Yeah, please start.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Let's talk about phrases that you might use that goes to competition. In our experience, that approach creates a risk because you can say to the customer, we've already been down this road. We understand that these solutions don't work, and it could be obviously the solution our competitor is bidding. Or based on industry data, that approach has a potential weakness because. That's another great method to use a third party, impartial industry source, good, solid industry data, but also puts doubt in the mind. Or having faith in that approach might be mistaken because, and fill in some other factual data, or high-risk solutions include, and that could be the competitor solution, and explain why. And or industry data shows it's not viable because. So there are a lot of phrases that we can use to put doubt in the mind without actually flagging the solution or flagging our competitor and saying why these solutions won't work. So I highly recommend using these subtle words that create doubt in the mind of an evaluator, like maybe uncertainty, waiver, or weakness, or some other words you might even consider using.
That's really important, Brenda. Thank you for sharing it. Again, culturally, Brenda, outside US, ghosting is not really kind of popular, or mainly people tend to focus more on their strengths rather than talk about even their weaknesses or even mitigating or neutralizing others. In that sort of scenario where you can't, where culturally you only talk about yourself rather than talk about, competitors and they are bad, so comparatively we are good, kind of. And
usually, I tell you what, 90% of the time I don't use that, or maybe even 95% of the time I just focus on us rather than our competitors. However, if I know they're providing a solution which might be weak, I might use industry data to say why our solution is strong without even calling them out or kind of even flagging why they might be weak.
Yeah. That's a nice approach, Brenda. Brenda, just going back, I think early on we started, okay, these are the words you don't use, these are the words you use, the categories,
Yes.
Then we talked about things. Quick, I know, we talked a lot of words in this short 15 minutes, Brenda. Maybe it's time to quickly refresh the listeners of what we talked about, where we talked about, okay, there could be like 300 words and phrases that we could share with them. But let's just pick maybe the 20 or 30 top words and phrases that they could use, and the top 10 or 15 that they should avoid or something, Brenda. That will be a good point for us here.
Okay, so I think let's go with the top 10, okay, that they should avoid. Okay, let's go with that first. I definitely think the boasting words are the words that you should not use. So the top 10 would be state of the art, best of breed, world renowned, leading provider, maybe leading company, world class. I'd say maybe top quality, trustworthy, or robust. Those would be my top words. Okay, so let's go for the top words I think that you should use. Okay, my favorite is exceed. Exceed, greater than, less than, reduced, led, modernized, decreased, earned, additional, and maybe advanced. Those would be my top 10 words on either side of the equation.
And did you note there are always cliche phrases that we use in pretty much all the proposals, which doesn't.
Yes, only because those cliche phrases just don't say anything and they're vague.
Correct.
But so I think that you have to make a proposal interesting to read. And you have to make sure that your advantages are easily identified by the customer. And that way it's a win-win for everybody. They enjoy reading your proposal and they can easily identify why you're best place to win.
Nice, Brenda. I think that's super. I mean, like I think we can talk in length about this, Brenda, but the way you kind of talked through how the clarity, brevity, and the strength of words can be used to describe a solution, which can increase the proposal score or decrease the proposal score. I think we take it, at face value or granted, okay, let's just write few words because we have character counts or a word count or something, but certain words that you can make or break a proposal was really useful for listeners. Any final points or any final notes, do's and don'ts, Brenda?
Yes, I'd just like to say that all of these words or phrases, 100 words that kill your proposal, 50 words and phrases that draw attention to your benefits, or increase your resumes. They're all free blogs that are on the Lohfeld Consulting website. So if anyone might be interested, they're there and they're available for you.
Brilliant, Brenda. Definitely we'll add these things because, as you know, the experience that Lohfeld has and 25 years experience is more or less like people's age, as you know now, the average. So, these are the things that we try to showcase to people, experience, wisdom from thought leaders like you. Definitely we'll add those link in. If there is any specific link that you won't like to share, we'll also add it, Brenda.
Sure.
Thank you for sharing the power of words, Brenda. I know it's
Absolutely.
really super useful. It's been an absolute privilege as always to have you with us, and to stay healthy, stay happy, continue to inspire us all the time, Brenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Please visit batchyscribble.com/podcast to listen to this episode and check out any of our other previously recorded episodes. If you've enjoyed today's interview, don't forget to subscribe, review, and share the Scribble Talk podcast. We hope you'll check out our next episode where we interview another industry expert and special guest. Until then, it's Ashley Kays,
Bhaskar Sundram,
signing off.